Last night's premiere, it was a bit of a rough start.
I would eat him and spit him out.
What is going on?
How did you feel watching it all back? Because you had two ladies leave before the rose ceremony, which I don't think has ever happened before.
Oh, well, thanks for reminding me about that one. I don't know if that's news to me. So, yeah, it was a lot, right? You go into night one and you want to put on, you want to put your best foot forward, and you really hope that at the end of it, 30 women show up and 30 women want to stay. Well, obviously that didn't happen. So then you start playing the game of like, in your head, what did I do wrong? Why do these two women just feel like this wasn't worth sticking around for? But they each had their reasons. And for that, I didn't want to get too hung up on it, because if I were to allow that to impact my confidence, now I become this guy who's lacking confidence going forward. And then the women are going to now all of a sudden probably be less attracted to that. It's like, keep the confidence that you have. Don't let that rattle you. And so I quickly shifted back to just being like, okay, let's move on from it. It just wasn't meant to be.
You had to keep moving forward. But I did want to talk about Sally real fast, because she came to you before you even met any of the other potential wives. And she was a bit in her emotions because it was supposed to be her wedding weekend. And how did you feel when she came to you? Did you think it was the right move for her to go home, even though you did give her that rose?
Yeah, I felt that, again, it was such a shock for her to come, to my doorstep before night one started. And I was taken aback, and very quickly I had to realize, okay, well, who is this? Obviously I put two and two together very quickly. If you have a super attractive woman show up with cameras behind her, you can pretty much figure out, like, this is one of the women. Then she, drops the bombshell on me. But we talked for probably over an hour. I know, obviously, like the show, it was a couple minutes, because again, they have to be able to fit everything into one episode. So I get that, right? But I really felt that after talking with her, that I liked what I saw. I felt like this is someone that could look past this, area of conflict in her life that was bugging her. I just felt like, okay, it was supposed to be her wedding day. So of course, like, those feelings were going to bubble back up. And I thought, if I give her this rose and we move past this day, maybe a couple of days from now, she will get back on that right track of being like, hey, I can do this. And this is somebody that I could see a future with. That was my thought. So I liked what I saw out of her. It wasn't a red flag just because she dropped that news on me. I just wanted to give her a chance and say, hey, like, a few more days, like, let's just see. And maybe it won't be, but maybe it's not meant to be. And then we'll part our ways 3 days from now. But for what it was, I just wanted to give her a shot, and she felt that she couldn't move forward. And so I respect that.
Now, is this the last we see of Sally? Because some Bachelor Nation fans are thinking she's going to make a return.
I have read those predictions, and we'll have to wait and see. I'm not a spoiler account, so I'm not going to give you anything as far as any type of clues. I've been trained well.
Okay, well, we'll just have to wait and see. And we also need to talk about Clare. You guys just didn't hit it off. You really didn't. And then she went around and told the other women that she hated you. Now, do you think she actually did hate you, or did she just put a wall up because she didn't feel that connection between the two of you?
Yeah, I want to say it's the latter. I would imagine you can't hate somebody. That's a strong word, right? And so that definitely envelops a lot of emotions. And you would have to, I think, have more instances of interactions to build to that point of hate. So I think she just picked that word, not realizing that, like, this is not a good word, but I take words as they are. And so for her to say that, I was like, this is not good for night one. For you to be saying this, to me, that's a major red flag. You're already using these big words. And I just felt that, again, our connection wasn't the strongest. Night one, I know, was very brief. And I understand her frustration. Like, she essentially was kind of like, Mara came in and took me away, and I know that she was hoping for maybe more time, but that's the tough part about it, right? Night one, there's so many moving parts, so many women, and you're lucky if you get 4 minutes with somebody, right? So I get her frustrations. I don't want to hold that against her, but for me, ultimately, not a good start to a night one. And when you're using those words, I was like, this is too much. I'd rather just move on from it.
Yeah, that was honestly the right move. But other than the drama, you did have a lot of fun parts. There were a lot of women that you did hit off, like, immediately. And I did love all the limo entrances. So what was your favorite limo entrance and why? Because there's a lot of fun ones.
I liked the two that stood out to me. I liked Gabby's limo entrance because she had the pillow and it showed her humorous side. I think that's a bold move to come out and be your introduction, but she handled it really well. She had a lot of confidence, and she made me laugh, and I really look for that in a partner, somebody that can put a smile on my face. And then I also really liked Marlena's entrance. Obviously, she played into the whole football card with that being my background. But again, another person that is extremely confident, and she walked out and I could tell she had it. I could see it in her body language. And then, just the statement she made, she fully went in with that joke, and I loved it. Again, anytime someone makes me laugh, those are gonna be the ones that stand out the most.
And what about Teddi? Because it was clear that you were feeling her the moment she stepped out of the limo, and you ended up giving her your first impression rose. So what was it about her that made you swoon?
I mean, look at her. I mean, when she stepped out the limo, her curls, I was like, oh my gosh, like she's got it going. And that's why, again, like as people saw, I couldn't put words to it because it was just a feeling. And she was obviously very playful and talk about, her name's Teddi, and she wants to, hopefully I'll be her teddy bear. And I thought it was she threw a little humor in there, but also she's just so sweet. And it really resonated with me. When she walked away, I was like, I want to talk to her again. I didn't, that was only like a minute long, and I feel like there's more to her I want to get to know. And yeah, phenomenal first impression. So the rose was just kind of a no-brainer when I was at that point.
That makes sense. I mean, you were off to a rough start, but then you ended on a really good note. You have a great group of women, but there is a lot more to come in that teaser. Oh my gosh, so much drama, so much crying. How did you navigate it all? Because I mean, it's a lot.
Well, I mean, I certainly went through it. Was I knocking over things left and right as I navigated it? Yeah, I mean, I think, again, when you see a promo like that, who's to put the blame? There's really no way to put blame on per se, but it just shows that there's a lot of emotions involved. And it was a lot for me. And I think I was challenged to a point where, I was, as people saw in all the trailers, very broken. That was the best way for me to describe it, because I was shocked, and I never thought that I would get to that point. And I think I started to just have these questions of like, how, like, I thought that I was going to come in here and be able to handle this. Like, I'm a very confident individual, and I've went through a lot of challenges in my life, but nothing can prepare you for an experience like this. And so people are going to see what brought me to that point. And I think the emotions obviously were very warranted. It became very challenging as I started developing stronger connections.
You say in the teaser that you have fallen in love with 3 women. Looking back, did you actually fall in love with 3 women, or was it just what you were feeling at the time? Like, was it actual love?
Yeah, I look back at it, and I think I was very much falling in love with 3 women. Which is crazy. When I was on the outside coming in, and I think somebody asked me that question, could you see yourself falling in love with multiple people? Do you think that's possible? I was like, no way. Like, I would never do that. That's just a disaster waiting to happen. But then I got into that environment, and all I had to focus on was relationships. No job, no friends, family, no other distractions, simply relationships. And we got into these very intimate discussions very quickly, and deep conversation. And I started to build these connections. And when I was with one woman, I was with them physically and mentally 100%. There was nothing else that I was focused in on. So I did that with each woman, and that's what allowed me to build these strong connections. And here's the thing too, people go, well, it's 2 months. Like, how can you build such a strong connection in 2 months? I'm spending every day with these women for 2 months. Not like out in the real world where you have been 2 months, you might see somebody once a week, on the weekends. Here, you're with them every day, and you don't have any other distractions. You're only talking about emotions and building connections. So 2 months is a lot of time in that environment.
No, it really is. Now, also in the teaser, you tell the women that you were intimate with 2 of them. Mm-hmm. Looking back, do you regret that?
No. I mean, you say regret it, like I say, I want to say I don't regret. I'll say this. I really don't regret anything. And it's like, why is that? If you got to that point and you saw what happened, how could you not? Would I have done things differently? Or should I maybe have done things differently? Yes, you can make an argument for that. But when I was there, I did everything that I thought was best at the time. And I really value transparency, so much so that there is no conversation that I'm afraid to have with someone. No matter how scary it is, no matter how much you're afraid they might be hurt by it, I'd rather somebody come to me and be 100% vulnerable and honest than withhold something. Because the second you start withholding things, that's when you start to build these bed of lies around the relationship, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Now the teaser basically spoils that who your top 3 are. It kind of does. I don't know if maybe it was a trick.
I've seen a lot of promos, so in all of them I've seen different faces, so I don't think it spoils anything, but I guess it depends. I don't know. I mean, that's, if you think it does, then I guess then so be it. I think that they've shown a million different promos with 3 different faces every time. So
there you go. Because my question was, why should people keep watching? Because people think they have it figured out, which I don't think is the case.
No, I've read a lot online, and it's all across the board. And I think this is what I can say is, looking at the promo, people I know, they question, why would you show so much? My simple answer is, unfortunately for me, but I guess fortunate for everybody that loves drama and tunes in for that, they showed so little. They really did. Like, that was not even scratching the surface. And again, I'm not just teasing this where people are going to go, oh, he's just building this up. No, you'll see. I mean, there's a lot that goes on that leads to that point. And that's where people go, why would you say that in that environment? Well, because you'll see why. I mean, there was so much happening, and I felt that that was what I should do in that moment.